Assalamu alaikum students. In this class of business ethics, we are going to discuss chapter number 3, which is the business system, government, markets and international trade. So the very first concept which comes in this chapter is economic system. Whenever we talk about economy, two words are there in our mind: demand and supply. So, following those two words, how can we define economic system? From definition, this is the system a society uses to provide the goods and services it needs to survive and flourish. That means we are talking about production and distribution of goods and services. Following this definition, we come to know that there are two basic tasks of any economic system. First is the production, and second is the distribution. Okay, now let's see how many types of economic systems are there. Students, there are three types of economic system. The first one is tradition based. These economic systems are small and rely on traditional communal roles and customs to carry out basic economic tasks. That means within the community, within the society, specific roles and responsibilities are performed by specific groups in a traditional manner, in old manner. Second, command economy. This type of economy is the one that is controlled by the government. Government is there as an authority and to make the economic decisions about the production and the distribution of goods and services. Second one is market economy, which is an economic system based primarily on private individuals making the main decisions about what they will produce and who will get it. That means there is private ownership of the maximum property, and private individuals are the decision makers, and private individuals are the controller of the production and the distribution process. Students, now let us define free markets. Free markets are those markets in which each individual is able to voluntarily exchange goods with others to decide what will be done with what he or she owns without interference from the government. So you can conclude from this definition of free market that it is like a place where people have the free will to buy and sell products without the interference of the government rules and regulations. Students, as we are talking about the economic systems, free market, production, distribution, we have three main important theories in our chapter. The first theory is the free market and rights by John Locke. John Locke was an English political philosopher, generally credited for developing the ideas that human beings have natural rights. Natural rights to liberty, that means freedom; natural rights to private property, that is the ownership of land, building, etc., and the right to life. Students, now let us discuss the Locke's state of nature theory. We have four main assumptions. Let's discuss one by one. State of nature. In his view, before government existed, people lived in a state of nature where they were free and equal. However, this freedom could lead to conflicts and insecurity. So you can see, students, that the law is talking about a community that was before formulation of any sort of government, without any sort of authority. People were free and they were like having the free will to buy and sell the products. Second assumption is about the ownership. Locke argued that individuals own themselves and their labor. When people work on something, they mix their labor with it, and that gives them a right to own it. That means Locke is pointing out the things on which we which who are her work, and that thing is consequently comes under the ownership of the person who is working on that. Second, next point is insecurity of rights. According to Locke, people's enjoyment of life, liberty, and property are unsafe and insecure due to the risk of conflict and competition. Students, as we talk about that there was no government, there was no authority, so people were free. But this sort of freedom can lead to conflicts and competition, because nobody is liable to uh, any authority, and nobody is there to ensure the rights and responsibilities of everyone. Next, formulation of government. According to Locke, to protect their rights to life, liberty, and property, people agree to create governments. So, Locke is suggesting that in order to save the natural rights, people are in mutual agreement to form a government, to formalize an authority in order to have a check and balance over the society. Students, there has been immense criticism on Locke's theory. Let's discuss the main critics' point one by one. First one is Locke doesn't prove individuals have natural rights to life, liberty, and property. The critics want to say that, according to Locke, natural rights to life, liberty, and property exist, but he doesn't mention that from where these rights came from and what is the interpretation of these rights. Second, his natural rights are negative and don't clearly override positive rights. So before discussing this point, students, let me clear that negative rights are the one in which there is no interference of the second party, there is no individual involved. For example, my right to privacy. And positive rights are the rights in which the other person is responsible in order to fulfill your rights. For example, government is responsible to provide the safety to our life. So in Locke's theory, there was a gap that he didn't mention how stronger, how important natural rights were in as compared to the positive rights, because according to him, natural rights were the negative rights, the most basic rights. Third, Locke suggests free market, but they can be unjust and create inequalities. Locke actually supported free markets, but free markets can be unjust and create inequalities because there is no government or authority to uh, oversee the society. Last, he wrongly views human as isolated individuals, as we already discussed about, like when an individual works on something and that something comes under an ownership, that means that Locke assumed that individual is an independent, free entity. But reality is that we are dependent on each other and we work together. The second theory in this regard is the theory of free markets and utility by Adam Smith. Okay, let's talk about this theory. According to Adam Smith, there are two main assumptions to discuss. First, benefits of market competition. Market competition helps people chase their own interest, which in turn benefits everyone. So, according to Smith, free market and market competition is a positive thing that should be supported, that should be increased. Why? Because it promotes working on self interest. Working on self interest produces the best quality product and services. So here the concept of utility is achieved. You produce the best product according to your self interest, and you offer the best product to the person which is also benefited from your product. So here it uh, equals the concept of utility. The second assumption is drawbacks of government interference. When the government gets involved in markets, it can lead to shortages or surpluses, harming public welfare. So, according to Adam Smith, market competition, free market are favorable things, and when there is a government, when there is the involvement of the authority, it generally results in the either shortages or either surpluses, harming the public welfare. So he eventually supported free market and utility concept by promoting market competition and the concept of free markets.